Yeah.
All right, what's up, family? So in this one, the Julio killers finally got convicted. They did. It seems that from what the paperwork is saying, they all did get convicted of life with no parole. Nobody got hit with the death penalty, so they're basically just going to be slaves. But this is the court trial. This is what the family has to say. This is the mom.
Thank you for allowing me to address the court. I'd like to say that uh, this everything has really opened and brought a lot of attention to a lot of things.
Before we even get started, I'm sorry, I gotta say it. You can tell she just at a lost of words. Like you could tell, like she's at a lost of words, y'all. Like this shit is not. It is not worth it. It is not worth it, man. Look at her. He broke his mother's heart.
That are going on in the community and in the neighborhood of Jacksonville and also elsewhere.
Shh. Mr. Snarty, you're talking too loud. I can't hear Miss Lau.
Elsewhere in the country. Um, we have received a lot of support and a lot of comments about people who've learned a lot about the judicial process throughout this, which I think is very, very important, and also has sparked a lot of conversation in regards to parents communicating with their children and letting people realize that just it doesn't matter what your situation is. You never know what can happen in life and where you can find yourself. And I think with this trial being televised and with a lot of what do you call it, controversy and attention, it's really sparked a lot of conversation throughout the community and brought a lot of awareness. And I hope that this will change a lot of things in people's lives and change their minds and.
It ain't got no choice but to change their life. That's the fucked up. That's the whole thing. It is no choice but to change their life. They got no choice but to sit there and do that time and be a slave for the rest of their life. For the rest of their life. I remember when the trial was first going on, Shawn tried to get up there and be like, I'm sorry. And they found the gun from the previous Julio's, the previous shooting. So you've been trying to kill him. And now you was crying. Your mother's up here speaking at a complete loss of words. Crazy.
Opinions. And as a retired member of the military, I've always been one who has strictly believed in the rule of law and right and wrong. And I've learned a lot. All I can say is I've learned a lot and about how the process goes. And thank you for allowing me this
Sure, Miss
opportunity.
Lyle, and I just want to tell you, you've been a very devoted mother to your son. I can tell you've been here throughout the trial, and he's very fortunate to have you as his mother.
She's been there the whole trial. She's been there the whole trial. He came from a good home. A good mom. Mom said she was in the military. He came from a good home. She was there the whole time. Even the judge, like, man, he lucky to have you as a mom. It ain't no way in the world Shawn should be in this situation. He had no reason to be outside with them dudes. From my acknowledgement, apparently, he ain't even really know Julio like that. Now, I know how the streets is. The paperwork don't always get it correct. However, even looking from how his mom is talking, how she's been there the whole time, right? Actions speak louder than words. You can't take that away from her. So she's a good mom. She's been there for her son, and she's proven that she's been there for her son, and she's always gonna be there for her son. But her son has done things. She just said, basically, in the nicest way possible, she just said, I know what my son did. I know what has to happen. I understand the law. And I understand that my son can't isn't different. He's not different from the law. So if he's convicted of this murder and he did this, then my son has to do what he has to do. That's the reality. That's the reality. And it's over.
And I know your heart is broken. I know it is because it's your
Yeah,
child.
her heart is
And
broken.
I do have sympathy
I said
for
that from
that.
I said that from the beginning of the video. That's why the judge the judge can see it's clear. Everybody sees it. It's clear as day. Her heart is broken. She like, what the how? But I can't. Man, that's sad, bro.
For you, I really do. I'm very sorry for you and for your family that this is where you find yourself. But your attitude and what you're taking away from it, I hope as well for the community's sake that there is some change, because this can't go on. This tragedy just cannot go on.
No,
So
they made sure. They definitely made sure for the community's sake that there was some type of change. Him going up there crying like that and letting the whole world. I definitely think people gonna crash out regardless. But that sent the message right there, and the guard coming out saying, yeah, he's basically we gonna use him for sweat equity. That sent the big message. Like he sat there and cried because it all hit him at one time. Like, damn, what am I doing? Like, what was I doing? He thinking he gonna get death, maybe, and they end up. He was begging for life in prison. Can you imagine that? I ain't even begging for freedom no more. Just give me life, but don't kill me. That's wicked,
I
bro.
thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Gathwright, do you want to say something? Come on up.
I too want to thank you for allowing me to address the court. This tragic event occurred when Shawn was barely 18 years old, and this is a time when the prefrontal cortex of the brain is not fully developed. This development doesn't.
Man, she going up there with all that extra shit. Look, bro, I'm gonna be real. At 18, I knew better. You kept trying to kill this man. He kept trying to do. So you saying because he's 18 years old and he killed somebody? Oh, that makes it okay because his brain wasn't developed. That's the excuse now. You still going up here for that shit? I think they said this was Miss Gathwright, so I guess this is his white side of the family. Because it sure as shit they can't handle one of theirs going down. And hey, man, listen, he's a killer. He kills people. That's what he does. So he went to jail.
Complete itself until they're at least
Don't make no
25.
sense.
And this is the area of the brain that controls impulses, and risky behavior is part of the immature brain. They have a heightened.
Risky behavior is doing fun stuff with your friends, stupid stuff with your friends, riding around, speeding, maybe late night, speeding through traffic, doing just doing crazy stuff. Um, I would even understand making some money, hustling out there. You know what I'm saying? That's risky behavior. You're desperately trying to kill somebody that you don't know isn't risky is stupid. I can tell my 12-year-old little brother wouldn't be this stupid. A 20-year-old little brother wouldn't be this stupid. He thought it was a game. That's the problem. He never had his ass whipped. He thought it was a game. He thought like, man, yeah, we gonna beat this case. Nobody care. We woo, woo, woo. You thought because you getting away with all this BS in the hood with your newfound friends that it's never gonna catch up to you. So then you start getting bolder and bolder and bolder. Now you crying in court. Mrs. Gathwright's up here trying to tell everybody how you damn near stupid. So can you please give him a pass because his brain he's retarded. It's not developed yet. He's still legally retarded. So can you give him a pass? Fuck out of here.
Drive for risky behavior. Logic is emotions and impulses are their first priority, and logic is the second one. And I know that Shawn made a mistake, but I really believe that the punishment is too severe. Shawn.
See, this does break my heart because you can tell she loved him, and you can tell she knows he did not come from that, and now he's gonna be put in a situation where a bunch of people who come for that, she knows what he's about to go through. She knows if anybody's on suicide watch, it's Shawn. If anybody gonna become a punk, it's Shawn. She knows that. They didn't raise him like that. So now she's breaking down. Now reality is setting in. Now everybody like, yeah, he gotta eat this though. Like God gave him a couple chances to lay back and say, man, stop. He just didn't. So I understand in the sense of, yeah, he was young and he didn't understand that he kept getting away and eventually you got to get caught. He was young in that sense, but he knew better than do what he was do what he was doing. You can't even give him no remorse because they even found old weapons from the past, from the same victim, from the victim that they killed in a horrific way, bro. Horrific way. You was a killer that night, bro. And that's what I mean. You're hanging with this demonic influence, and you're around. People don't understand how strong that demonic spirit and influence is, and it can make you turn to somebody you are not at all, and your whole family is like, "Hold on, we can't give him life," because they know you actually a good kid, you a good person. And this isn't picking on Shawn. This is just showing everybody the reality of what happens when you lose yourself. There's real people who should be in the streets right now who are not. Who are like, man, my mom was a junkie, my pops wasn't around, blase blah, cousins did this. I have every right to be in the streets, but they was like, man, I don't want that for myself, and they changed their life. So when you come from a situation where you don't have to be in the streets and you just jump in it, or you just deliberately not gonna stop. I've been in situations where I had every right to go with my best friends to go do something. These are my day ones. They finna go do something stupid. I'm the one that, I ain't going. I'm not going. This is real talk. Hey, and I still got the same love and respect. And if anybody didn't like that or wasn't cool with that, we not kicking it to this day, and I'm not affected or bothered. It doesn't affect my life. What does affect my life is that I'm alive from the decisions that I've made. So Shawn decided to get in that car. Shawn decided to get out that car and blow his pipe. And his family can't believe what type of influence he's around. They can't believe it. This is what happens. That's why he was the only one boohoo crying, because he knows, man, what am I doing, G? What am I doing?
I know, it's hard. Mrs. Gathwright, it's hard. I know.
Shawn is a bright young man, and given the opportunity, I believe he can make
She going up there trying her
outstanding
hardest
role
for her little
model
baby.
for younger people. He's a strong Christian, and he is liked by his peers as well
He's not a strong Christian though. So, let me shut up.
adults. This one event should not define the rest of his life.
Because everybody makes mistakes.
Thank you.
She couldn't even finish. She couldn't even stand up there any longer. When even her, as much she wanted to go up there strong and say what she had to, as she's saying it, she's like, it's over.
All right. And Mr. Gathwright, do you wish to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I wish he would stop talking. I'm not gonna lie. I'm tired of him talking. At some point, take your crown, bro. I feel like nobody else is talking as much as him. But I understand his pain. I get that he, you know what I'm saying?
I just thank you once again for allowing me the
Yeah, he
opportunity.
just got done crying.
I prepared just a little something. I worked pretty thoughtfully on it, so I just ask that you allow your discretion for me to.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Thank you.
As long as it's respectful.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
On his ass. Say something
Here
crazy
we
if you
are,
want to in
being
here.
sentenced for the murder of Charles Jones on the day he was killed 2 years later.
But this is what happens. You become a poet. You become a poet. You close to God, all of us. This is what happens. This is a message to the street, to anybody out there right now that knows damn well you're not supposed to be out there. If you got a loving mother or a loving father at home, take your ass home. Blame it on your dad that you can't come outside. Blame it on your mom that you can't come outside. Blame it on your big brother. If you have anybody in your life, go there. Let them know, hey man, I got to get away. Get a bus ticket out your city. Leave. Forget everybody. If you in a situation where you got homeboys around you that is pulling you down, because this is what happens. It doesn't end in a gangster story. It ends with somebody becoming a poet and everybody else looking like, damn, we just gonna sit down and do our time because we don't want to look that stupid, but we all feel that stupid.
Now, some may say this is just a coincidence, but I believe that nothing has been, is, or ever will be left up to chance, and that everything in this world is predestined. And there are many biblical promises of that belief holding true.
I told you. God close to
Jeremiah
God.
1:5 says, "Before you were formed
I
in the womb,
told
I knew
you.
you."
I told you. All of a sudden, you become a Christian, you get close to God. I told you. Before he started talking, I knew it. That's what happens to, man, I done seen it so many times, G.
Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans for good and not for disaster." And Romans 8:28 says, "We know all things work together for good to those who love God and are called to his purpose." And there are many more just like them. God has full sovereignty over our lives. He chooses our times of peace and prosperity, our times of joy and laughter, but he also chooses our traumas and our tribulations.
I mean, I get everything he's saying, and I'm not, that's his religion, and we don't talk about people's religions, but bro, just keep it. You're not coming home. Keep it to yourself. Pray to your God and rely on your God. All this coming out, talking to the judge with teary eyes and grandma crying, and you talking about what if they release you, they gotta release everybody else. That's not happening. You're a criminal now.
Not to punish and tear us apart, but to strengthen our character and our faith. Everyone wonders how and why I ended up in a situation like this, despite growing up with a loving family, nice home, multiple opportunities, and promising potential.
I know how. Hanging around with the wrong niggas. Hanging around with the wrong people. That's how. That's how that happened. I've seen it a million times. It's hanging around with the wrong people. Point blank, period. He even said he's even gotten to the point where he's like, I know everybody's wondering like how am I here? Because that's the big ass elephant in the room. Why is he here? How the hell did we get here with him? So now he's up here trying to explain himself and talk about hanging. As simple as this. You hang around if you hanging around a bunch of millionaires, if you're hanging around 9 millionaires, you're going to be the 10th millionaire. If you're hanging around 9 street niggas, you're going to be the 10th street nigga. Period. Period. I don't care where you come from, what's your background. If this is what you hang around, this is what you is. That's what you will become. Until reality set back in. And you're not around the streets. You're not high off the drugs. You're not your mind. You sobered up. Now you're sober. Now you're sober. Now you're sitting down and you like, what the fuck? What am I doing? I don't even know these niggas like that. I don't care if Julio lived, honestly. I don't care if Julio died, honestly. I was trying to be cool. Now you're sober. Now you can't just smoke and can't just drink and go hang with somebody. Can't just go get some pussy with shorty. Can't just go lay with some shorty. Like, you know what I'm saying? You can't do none of that no more. Now everything is real. It's just you, God, and yourself. Now you like, God, oh my God. You're telling everybody you became a poet, a prophet, everything in the world. Because this is the reality. This is the reality. There's nothing wrong with getting that job, bro. There's nothing wrong with stop hanging out with them homies. There's nothing wrong with cutting out of town. There's nothing wrong with dodging niggas. Oh, he a hoe, he a bitch, he left the city. Fuck you. Man, that nigga don't come around no more. So what? Because I promise you, in 5 years, those same guys, they gonna be dead or in jail. Somebody gonna be online crying, like this situation, unfortunately. It happens every single year. It happens all the time, bro. It's not worth it.
Some act as if it is impossible or unheard of for someone like me to find themselves in a situation like this. But in reality, it is much more common than we think. It has been happening long before today.
What I just say?
Jesus shared with the world.
What did I just say?
The prodigal son. A son who had the nice home.
The prodigal
loving
son
family,
shall return.
servants. He had his every need catered to.
He-
Yet he still chose to take his inheritance and venture off to a far country where he indulged in prodigal living. He soon ran out of money, and a famine had struck the land he was in. And while that would have been enough signs for most to turn back, his eyes still hadn't opened, and he still hadn't come to his senses. Hungry and desperate, he found a job on a farm feeding pigs. And during these times, pigs and what they were fed were deemed as the filthiest, most impure, lowest of the low, and worst of the worst. But he was so hungry and so blind that the food he fed the pigs looked appetizing. That's when he finally came to his senses. He realized that even the servants back home had enough food to spare, yet here he is dying of hunger amongst pigs. After this
So basically what he just said, reality hit me. What he just said is everything I've just told y'all. Before he even opened his mouth, is everything I just told y'all what he's going through. He just admitted to it. He just said, I have not watched this video yet on everything. I've just seen this so many times. I've seen this over and over and over again. I got so many homies that went through the same thing. So many stories, so many people I know so many times, G. It's the same story, bro. It's the same story. And it's really sad because I honestly feel like if he had a second chance, he would change in the future. I think he does need to sit down for a while to feel this though. You know, the fact that he got life, that's a decision that he decided to do. When you commit murder, you know that's what can happen. Everybody knows that. You don't have to, just because you're 18 years old and whatever. You know, I feel for Shawn because it's like, man, don't nobody deserve at 20 years old to be looking up and saying, I'm fighting for life in prison. That's almost inhumane. That's actually almost inhumane to be 20 years old and considering to sit down for the rest of your life in a prison cell and then be called and be considered sweat equity to the government and the country you was born in. That's almost inhumane to think about, and that's what he's dealing with. He's not supposed to have these emotions. He's not supposed to. That's why he's crying. But he's a killer. You ain't supposed to be killing people either. We need to understand that too. So we can feel bad for him, but we gotta see the whole situation. What if one of them bullets flew and hit a little baby girl that was walking in a hotel with her family, hit somebody's mom? Bullets don't got no name. You did that at a birthday party, at a hotel, in the public? Are you serious? So, yeah, bro, it's a lot that come with that.
he decided to return home. He was ashamed and planned to go to his father to ask for forgiveness and to become one of his servants because he no longer felt worthy to be called his son. But when he returned, his father embraced him with love and compassion, dressed him in the finest clothes and jewels, and celebrated his son's return with a feast, exclaiming, "This son of mine was dead and has come back to life. He was lost and is now found." It is not uncommon for good young men who come from good families to get lost in this world. But discontentment often leads these good young men astray. When scholars and historians look back on our times, I believe they will label us as the age of discontentment. And those of us who come from privileged upbringings are actually disadvantaged to the fight against it. because of the high expectations, many opportunities and options we grow up with. We don't know what struggle looks like, or how hard our parents had to work to provide these opportunities for us. We don't know what we have until it's gone. And it often happens
Exactly.
after we go through our own eye-opening experience.
My point. He had no reason to be out there. Point blank. Period. He didn't see what struggle looked like. He didn't. He just. He and everything. You know how embarrassing it is to have to admit to that in front of court after the fact. Now it's like shit. Now you just look goofy, bro. That's why I wish you would just stop talking and go do your time, bro. Just stop talking and go do your time. I know it's hard to accept. I know what they ask you to do is inhumane, but you did something inhumane, and you have to see that part. You doing all this, let me know you haven't learned your lesson. I'm gonna keep it 100. You keep talking and going up here and talking about God, and you know what we gonna check, hoping for relief. Lets me know you haven't learned your lesson. You haven't understood what you did. Because if you did, you would sit there and be like, no, I'm going to take my time on the chin like a man and pray to God in private. Hey, if you really talking to God, you pray to God in private. You ask God in private, man, get me out of this. You know, help me get through this. Whatever you got to pray to God for. But all this putting on the show, crying, acting, man, nobody trying to hear because we all, Nick, you wasn't, that's not, man, we see what you capable of doing. So miss me with that. Take it on the chin like a man. And then God can do anything, bro. But do that in private, man. So you keep a little bit of your dignity, man. Keep some of your dignity and your respect. Because right now it look like you look like a clown. Now you coming out saying, man, I really didn't even know what struggle was. I'm really a Christian. I'm really this, and God is this, and I'm the prodigal son. I'm coming back to my father. You saying all of this, which is it's nothing wrong with saying. But it's after the fact. You say this to yourself. You saying it to the judge and hoping somebody's going to. Because saying to the judge, the only thing you're hoping that she reduces some of your time because she has the power to do so. That's the only reason why you're telling it to a judge. Otherwise, you would just shut up and do your time.
Never in history has there been a time like now, where there's so much available and so easy to consume, but we still demand more. And it is clearly seen in my generation. Young men and women want to grow up faster to try to keep up with the influencers that are idolized. And this is in part due to us being so susceptible. A study done by the National Institute of Mental Health provided evidence showing that the brain doesn't reach full maturity until 26 to 27 years old.
Here they go with the brain. If they say it one more time. At 16, I knew it was wrong to kill somebody. At 16 years old, I knew it was wrong to kill somebody. He's 20. It happened at 18. Cool. He knew it was wrong, man. I understand that you don't make the best decisions at that age. Trust me, I get that. But you know it was wrong. That's why everybody else sitting there like, shit, man, I did what I did. They probably crying that night too. They probably praying to God that night too. But a part of being a man is understanding what you did. Whether you felt it was right or not at the time. Being a man is understanding what you did.
About 8 or 9 years older than my time during the offense. But society knows this, and that's why laws set age requirements on certain activities, amenities, and substances as a way to protect adolescent adults. Yet those same laws don't extend to an adolescent adult when they are charged with crimes and allows them to be prosecuted to the fullest extent, regardless of their age. Your Honor, it is heartbreaking that an 18-year-old can't rent a car or a hotel or buy a home, but can be sentenced to death or life in prison without the possibility of parole.
I'm going to be real. 18-year-old can buy a car. An 18-year-old can get a house. And I was on my own at 17. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I was 100% living on my own at 18. I had my own apartment. I had my own car, all in my name. I had doctor's notes in my name. I had everything I needed. Everything. I couldn't go out and rent a car. I'm 25 this year. I can finally go rent a car this year. Whoop-de-doo. That didn't change my life. I've been on my own since I was 17 years old. I've been effectively on my own 100% since I was 18. You know why? Because I could get everything in my name. So I don't know what he's saying right now. That's what I'm saying. Stop fucking talking. Stop talking.
They can't purchase alcohol or tobacco, but can be sentenced to death.
That's the only thing I couldn't do was purchase alcohol. When I was 18, matter of fact, I turned 19. They said, hey, man, the law changed to 21. So I was buying backwoods. I was buying woods for a year. Then I had to wait 3 years before I could buy woods again. But in the hood, shit, you fuck with the guy at the gas station, the G. You know what I'm saying? You get your switches regardless. But that's the only thing I couldn't buy was liquor. At 18 was the only real thing I couldn't buy. 18 was liquor. Like I couldn't just walk in a liquor store and show my ID unless I had a fake ID or something. But on some legal stuff, I couldn't do nothing. But what is he talking about?
Or life in prison without the possibility of parole. They can't work certain jobs or even go on a cruise without a chaperone, but can be sentenced to death without life, or life without prison, in prison without possibility of parole.
Did he just say you can't?
And I'm
What is he
prime
talking
example of
about?
these circumstances. At 18 years old, with no prior convictions, I was charged, indicted.
With no prior convictions, you was charged and indicted as a murderer. Then you took, hold on. Oh my God. Then they found you with the same weapon from the previous shooting of the victim you just unalived, showing that you've been trying to unalive him. This is not me making this up. This is not me just saying. This is what the court has said. You tie people's hands when you get caught this bad, bro. It's like what I'm supposed to do. Just say, hey, man, it's all good. Walk away because Julio was a gangster rapper too. Julio was dissing. So that gave you the right just to go do buck wild crazy on him anyway you felt like it. And if some random person got shot from how the horrific way you did it with no control at all, you can just do that because, your friend said, yeah, he killed my cousin and I feel now I'm about to go wild. Okay, that's cool. You can go see Red, but everybody else is sitting down taking their time. You're the only one crying. You wasn't supposed to be there. That wasn't your beef to do. It's one thing going to jail for if you feel like, hey man, somebody unalive your family members and you feel like you got to go do that and you get caught up in that and you sit down and take that. Hey man, all I can do is respect it. That's what he wanted. He took it like a man. All you can do is respect that. But when you doing this, and now you saying when you 18 you can't. You're 18 smart enough to write this shit down. You smart enough to make this shit for a judge at 18, but you gonna tell the judge you can't do nothing in life, or you still basically young and dumb. I don't know, bro.
Had to face the death penalty. My point is, society views anyone under the age of 21 as not being mentally mature enough to participate or partake in these activities, amenities, and substances, because certain substances.
So that means everybody that under 21 years old needs to go back home with their mom. They can't be outside. They can't graduate high school. Like, bro, what are you saying, bro? What are you saying?
Can negatively impact or stunt the growth of a developing brain, while other activities and amenities have restrictions due to the lack of impulse and behavioral control or lack of situational awareness at times with teens. It is very simple to understand that our brains have not developed enough, that we live in a society where someone under the age of 21 can be sentenced to death or life in prison without parole. We leave no room for growth, rehabilitation, or redemption. We don't account for the fact that they weren't a fully developed adult and their judgment and decision-making abilities weren't developed either. I believe it is cruel for someone under the age of 21 to be sentenced to life without parole or death before they're even old enough to be fully emancipated or to fully comprehend what consequences their actions carry. I say all this because I want to see change. Change for those whose fates were sealed long before they were born.
All right, I can't do it no more. So we get the gist of the video. That was ridiculous. I'm just gonna cut him off short. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, they got sentenced to life today. Life with no parole, so they did not get death. I am happy they didn't get death. They get to actually live and actually truly get to understand their consequences and get right with whoever they got to get right with. Whatever God they serve, get right with your God. Find your path in this life, and hopefully something plays out for you. But all this, give me a second chance, BS, and God obviously already gave you a second chance several times, and you just kept getting away, and now that you're caught, you don't understand the consequences of your actions. Okay. So, that's just what it is. So, man, you guys let me know how you feel in the comments. I know we all have seen this situation before, but let me know how you guys feel. Make sure to subscribe to Evan Seals TV. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and until next time.